Okay, so let's jump right in. We had a brilliant question come through from one of you.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
It was about investing. Specifically, if I buy a government bond for 5,000 kwacha for 5 years and reinvest every coupon payment, how much would I have at the end?
That's a fantastic question. It really gets to the core of, making your money work for you.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how much that consistent reinvestment can potentially grow things. We're talking nearly doubling your profit over 10 years in
Yeah.
the scenario we'll look at.
Yeah, it's all about compounding, isn't it? Earning returns on your returns. And look, this deep dive, it's going to unpack that using insights from a financial literacy segment powered by the Calculetta application.
Right. And we should be upfront about one thing, a key assumption the source makes for this illustration,
Which is
that the interest rates, the yields, they stay the same the whole time, constant.
absolutely crucial for this example. Doesn't always happen in reality, but it helps show the mechanics clearly. So that initial 5,000 kwacha at, say, 16.8% yield on a 5-year bond, that gives you a gross coupon, like the payment, of 420 kwacha every 6 months. After tax and charges, it nets out to about 352.80 kwacha.
Okay, 352.80 kwacha. But, and this is important, the source points out a practical issue straight away.
Yeah, you can't actually reinvest that small amount back into government bonds, can you?
No, because they usually have minimum purchase amounts, right?
Yeah.
Often like multiples of 1,000 kwacha.
Exactly. So that 350-odd kwacha, it's just not enough to buy another slice of a barn.
So you can't directly simulate reinvesting those small coupon payments from a 5,000 kwacha bond.
Precisely. Which is why, to really demonstrate the compounding effect by reinvesting income into new bonds, the source material had to, scale things up.
Okay. Makes sense. So instead of 5,000.
They used 50,000 kwacha for the illustration. Same yield, 16.8%. Now with 50K, your net coupon every 6 months is 3,528 kwacha.
Right. And that amount is big enough to reinvest into more bonds.
Yes. So the simulation takes each of those 10 coupon payments over the first 5 years and reinvests them immediately into new bonds for whatever term is left.
Okay, so you keep plowing the income back in for those first 5 years. What does that reinvested income alone grow to?
According to the source's calculation, just reinvesting those coupons consistently gets you to 60,174 kwacha by the end of that initial 5-year period.
Wow, okay, over 60 grand just from the reinvested income. That really hammers home the compounding point.
It does. But remember, that's just the growth from the coupons.
Right, right. What about the original 50,000 kwacha principal? What happens to that?
At the 5-year mark, you get that principal back, maturity. Then the illustration shows taking that 50,000 kwacha and reinvesting it straight away for another 5-year term, still assuming that 16.8% yield stays constant.
Okay, got it. So you've got the 60K-ish grown from the first 5 years coupons, then you put the initial 50K back in for a second 5 years. How much income does that second 50K chunk generate?
Over those next 5 years, that reinvested 50,000 kwacha principal at 16.8% generates a total net coupon income of 35,280 kwacha.
All right, let's pull it all together then. Full 10 years, consistent reinvestment strategy. What's the grand total profit?
So you add the two bits together. The growth from reinvesting the first 5 years coupons, that was 60,174 kwacha, plus the coupon income from reinvesting the principal during the second 5 years, which was 35,280 kwacha.
Okay.
Add them up, and you get a total profit of 95,454 kwacha.
95,000 on a 50K investment over 10 years? That's pretty impressive just from sticking to the plan.
It really is. And the source really stresses, this comes from consistency, reinvesting smartly, and taking that longer view, letting the compounding do its magic.
But we have to remember that caveat, the one you mentioned earlier that the source also highlights. Real-world rates fluctuate. They don't just sit still at 16.8%.
Absolutely. That's a risk. But the example, it still powerfully shows the potential you unlock with reinvestment.
And this whole simulation, this breakdown, it comes from material associated with the Calculetta application.
That's right. The source positions Calculetta as basically a tool to help simplify your finances and improve financial literacy.
Yeah, and what sounds really useful is they apparently have a specific bond calculator feature. So you can actually run simulations like the one we just discussed yourself. Plug in amounts, see potential returns, payout schedules, yields. Helps you visualize things?
Yeah, and it's not just bonds. If you look into it, Calculetta seems to have other calculators too. Treasury bills, fixed deposits, even loans or FX rates. It's all about giving you tools to sort of plan better and make decisions based on data, not just guesswork.
Right. Helps you understand the numbers behind it all. So maybe here's something for you, the listener, to think about.
Go on.
What kind of financial growth could you maybe simulate or even aim for if you explored consistent investing and used some of these accessible tools like the Kakaleta app to help